Hello, it is early October 2019 and Devin and I are here at Shenandoah National Park in the great state of Virginia to set off on what is planned to be a 3-day backpacking trip that should cover a little over 20 miles. We are going to do the popular Big Meadows Hawksbill Rose River loop, and we're not exactly sure how far we're going to hike today. We'll go until we find a nice campsite, but we should definitely see Lewis Falls on the way. We've driven up from North Carolina, so we're ready to hit the trail. A little less than a mile along the Appalachian Trail, and you don't see too many cemeteries like this in the backcountry, but here we are. Heading down Lewis Falls Trail towards Lewis Falls. We've popped out at a decent little view here along Lewis Falls Trail right before we get to the falls. They're just around the bend. We've got our first clear view here right above Lewis Falls, and it's a beautiful day. Lewis Falls appears to mostly be through the tree growth here, but we can see a little bit of it looking out over the view. It's been pretty dry recently, so we don't have a ton of water coming through, but Lewis Falls goes right over the edge there. We've got a nice view here of Lewis Falls on the side of the mountain. Lewis Falls. We've made it back onto the Appalachian Trail after grabbing some water at Big Meadow Campground. We've probably come about 4.5 miles so far today, and we're gonna push another 1 or 2 and find a place to call it camp for the night. Home sweet home. We've made it to camp for the night. Found a nice spot here to hang a couple hammocks about 40-50 yards off the Appalachian Trail, right on the edge of the mountains. Virginia Congressman Henry D. Flood first introduced legislation to create a national park in the Appalachian Mountains in 1901, but it wasn't until 1935 that Shenandoah National Park was finally established. On this trip, we're using the Shenandoah National Park map by National Geographic. Let's take a look at the map for day 1. We started today at the Milam Gap parking area and followed the Appalachian Trail up until we took Lewis Falls Trail around to meet up with the Appalachian Trail again right outside of Big Meadows campsite. We then continued along the Appalachian Trail another mile and a half, and we set up camp somewhere in this area off the trail. Day 1 was about 6 miles. We've made it to the end of day 1. It's been a great day for us so far. The weather has been really perfect for backpacking. Not too hot, not too cold. We've seen a ton of people on the trails out here. Not much wildlife. I did disturb a small salamander a minute ago while setting up. And some of the best views that we got to experience were in the Lewis Falls area, where we had some nice views of the mountains and the valley and then the falls itself. So it's been a good day for day 1. We've got camp set up and we're going to eat some dinner and then enjoy a relaxing evening. As long as nothing crazy happens, that'll be the end of it. Good night. The origin of the name Shenandoah is shrouded in mystery. Shenandoah National Park was named after the nearby Shenandoah River, but theories abound as to what Shenandoah itself means, or where it originated from. Good morning! We made it to day 2. Last night was a calm, uneventful night, which is always what you want in the backcountry. It was fairly chilly, probably about the low 40s, but not too bad. We have a couple highlights that we're looking forward to today. We're going to go up to the top of Hawksbill Mountain, which is the highest peak in Shenandoah National Park, and then we're going to drop down into the Rose River area where we'll see the Rose River Falls. We're going to go ahead and finish off our breakfast and get camp packed up and get ready to start our day. Just a couple hundred yards down the trail for the day, and we've already opened up to some beautiful views of the Shenandoah Valley. Another great view here along the Appalachian Trail, looking out over the Shenandoah Valley. It's a beautiful day so far. We're definitely looking forward to the sun hitting our area. This is the Rock Spring Cabin, right below the Rock Spring Hut, and right above Rock Springs itself. And a pretty sweet view of the valley from the front porch. We've almost made it to the summit of Hawksbill Mountain, the tallest peak in the park, and it's a pretty cloudy day out today, but still beautiful. We've made it to the summit of Hawksbill, and this is a very popular day hike area. It's probably like 100 people up here. We've made it down from Hawksbill Summit on the upper Hawksbill Trail, and then we crossed over Skyland Drive, and now we are on the Skyland Big Meadows Horse Trail. Despite this being a horse trail, there's really not many signs of horse traffic, which is great because who wants to walk on a trail that's covered in poop? But it's been really nice so far. And we're probably a little over halfway done with the day in terms of mileage, but the bulk of our climbing should be behind us. We are heading towards Rose River Falls. We're on the Rose River Loop Trail, looking down into the Rose River Canyon. We've made it to Rose River Falls. Another look at Rose River Falls. The awesome pool at its base, and then Rose River continuing to flow downstream. This section of the Rose River Loop Trail closely follows the stream through a series of pools and rivulets. We've made it to Dark Hollow Falls, another popular day hike area. Dark Hollow Falls is actually like a quarter-mile long series of small cascades. And this is the very bottom section. Home sweet home. We've made to camp for the night. Found a nice open forest here off the Rose River Fire Road, and we're gonna set up our hammocks. Let's take a look at the map for day 2. We started today along the Appalachian Trail. We followed the AT all the way up to Salamander Trail, took that to Hawksbill Summit, followed the upper Hawksbill Trail down, crossed Skyland Drive, came down the Skyland Big Meadows Horse Trail, linked up with the Rose River Loop, which took us past Rose River Falls and Dark Hollow Falls, and then we came a little bit down the Rose River Fire Road where we have camp set up for the night. Day 2 was about 10 miles. We've made it to the end of day 2. We got camp set up just in time. We probably got about 15-20 minutes before the sunset. Today's been a pretty scenic day. We've had quite a bit of views through the trees, some good views from the top of Hawksbill. We got to see Rose River Falls and Dark Hollow Falls. So all in all, a pretty exciting day. We saw, I would estimate, easily hundreds of people. Seems like it's a very popular day hike area, so lots of people getting out and enjoying the great outdoors, which is awesome to see. We are gonna go ahead and eat some dinner and finish off the rest of our evening. Should be a little warmer than last night because we have some good cloud cover. Other than that, we're gonna call it the end of day 2. Good night. There's a deer walking by. Just 50 feet from camp. Right between the trees. Good morning. We made it to day 3, our last day of our trip here in Shenandoah National Park. Last night, it rained for most of the night, but the temperature stayed pretty warm, probably mid to low 50s, so definitely much warmer than the night before. It's always a little bit of a hassle packing up wet, but with the hammocks, really the only thing wet is the tarp, so we can just kind of shove that in the front of the pack and let the rest stay dry. Apparently, this campsite sits on a bit of a deer highway. We saw several come through right around dusk, and sounded like some more came through throughout the night as well, so that was pretty cool. Our first real sightings of wildlife on this trip. What have the highlights of the trip been for you, Devin?
I'd definitely say the waterfalls along the Rose River Trail. They were all really beautiful, and just the river along that trail was great to hike along with the moss and the rocks and the water. And seeing the deer last night was also pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna get camp packed up here and then get ready to hit the trail to finish off our trip. Let's take a look at our route for day 3. We're gonna start from our campsite here off Rose River Road. We're gonna follow that for a little bit until we get on Stony Mountain Trail, link up with the Rapidan Road, go on the Prong Trail, and then finish up the last mile to Milam Gap. That'll be the end of our trip, and today should be about 5.5 to 6 miles. Making our way up Stony Mountain Trail, and it's a pretty foggy morning today. This is the second little salamander we've seen on the trip. And it's always fun to see these beautiful little guys. We've got about a mile left in the trip, going up Prong Trail. And that'll take us back to Milam Gap. We've made it back to Milam Gap on Skyline Drive, and our trip is a couple hundred feet from ending. We've made it to the end of our 3-day backpacking trip in Shenandoah National Park, Virginia. Our total distance for the trip was probably about 21 miles. Total displacement was 0. We're back to where we started. It's been a great trip. We got to see views from Hawksbill, views throughout the trails on the rest of the trek. Several waterfalls, Lewis Falls, Rose River Falls, Dark Hollow Falls, and the Rose River Loop Trail was especially beautiful as well. We're excited to finish up. It's time to go get some food and get home and take a shower.